Yo, what's up, MG fam? It's your boy McGruff, and we're back, baby. Back with the Detroit Lions rebuild here on Madden 25. Alright, so this video, we're going to go over the Super Bowl because you guys know the last episode we lost to the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Championship game, and they will head to the Super Bowl this year. So we'll cover that. Also, we will cover the off season. So you guys know one of my favorite parts of this game is going to the draft and see how these GMs shape up their teams for the next season. Alright, so you guys know the outcome of our last game against the Cowboys. We lost 24-31. We had a backup quarterback in the game, and he took us all the way to the NFC Championship game. If we would have had our starting quarterback Trevor Lawrence, you guys know what would have happened. So the Chiefs and the Browns went up against each other in the AFC Championship game, and the Chiefs took that L, losing only by 1 point. I know Pat Mahomes and them boys out there sick, gotta be sick. Pat Mahomes had a pretty decent game. He threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kyle Hogan ended up having an okay game, also 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Pat Mahomes only had 218 yards though, and the running game is what helped the Browns get the victory. They had Nick Chubb out there, 22 carries, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble though. Zeke was held to 112 yards, 1 fumble. Hey, if Zeke could have got in the end zone 1 time this game, the Chiefs could have got the victory. Deion Lewis had 1 touchdown for the Chiefs, and Kyle Hogan ran 1 in from the quarterback position. The wide receiver play for both teams was pretty good. You know, Jarvis Landry had 10 receptions, 72 yards, so they was using him as a possession guy. Then you had OBJ, 6 catches, 77 yards. And no receiver had a touchdown for the Browns. But Dez Bryant, the OG, came in there and got 2 for the Chiefs, 74 yards, 5 receptions. And Nick Chubb got the only receiving touchdown out of the backfield. So that was one of the closest championship games I've seen in this series so far. And the Browns will head on to the Super Bowl to face the Cowboys. You guys saw in our last game, Dak got injured, and I don't think he's going to be ready for the Super Bowl. So they're going to have to go with their backup quarterback. Hey, if the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, when Dak come back next year, they may end up back in the Super Bowl once again. But before we simulate the Super Bowl, we're going to hire us a new head coach, man. We need one. We need some new blood around here. We need some new energy here in Detroit. Because our last head coach, Jim Schwartz, he was able to get us to the NFC Championship game. He got us to the Super Bowl 1 time. But it seems like he can't get us over the hump. So we need a new coach that can come in and get us over the hump immediately. You know, you got to make 1 change. You guys know how the Warriors situation worked out for Steve Kerr by replacing Mark Jackson, who was a great coach. But Steve Kerr was able to take that team to the next level, I guess because of the championship DNA that he had. All right, so we're going to try to do the same thing here. And we're going to sign Chris Gunter. Chris Gunter is a new head coach, a level 2. We're going to give him 3 years, $3.2 million, and we're going to try to build this team along with this head coach. So as we simulated the Super Bowl, you guys can see the Browns came out with a victory, 45-28 against the Cowboys. The Browns won 2 of the last 3 championships here in this series, but they was going up against a backup quarterback. So the Dallas Cowboys put up a fight with a backup quarterback. If Dak was in there, who is the reigning MVP, things might have went the other way. So Kyle Hogan ended up having 278 yards. He throws 1 interception per game. It seems like back-to-back games he threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Case Keenum 316, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. So Case Keenum did pretty good for a backup quarterback. And Nick Chubb, once again, man, ground and pound. That's all the Chiefs know. Hand that thing off to him 20 times a game. Almost had 100 yards, 2 yards shy, 1 touchdown. J.K. Dobbins did pretty well. Got 2 touchdowns, only 71 yards. And Jarvis Landry took 1 to the house for 48 yards. He got a rushing touchdown. And Davis Price, the young man, got a touchdown for the Cleveland Browns also. Wide receiver play, man. Dallas had 2 wide receivers over 100 yards. You can see Cooper and Dorsett. No touchdowns between the 2 guys. But Beckham was able to get a touchdown, 108 yards on 8 receptions. And Keller for the Cowboys, the tight end, got 1 touchdown. So the Cowboys put up a fight. Like I said, if they would have had a starting quarterback, things would have went the other way. But hey, the Chiefs brings in another Super Bowl. My goodness, Kyle Hogan might turn into Tom Brady here. So next, we're going to move on to re-signing players. I re-signed a lot of players. But one guy that surprised me was my boy Zamir White. You guys remember the undrafted rookie in the playoffs, gave us some big games. I thought he was going to come back after all those touches he got, but maybe he said, hey, I'm going to use this opportunity here to get a deal with somewhere else, because I don't think I'm going to start in front of KJ and McCray. We have our top 2 running backs, but Zamir could have came in there and gave us a change of pace at running back. But we're going to keep our eyes on him to see where he lands in the free agency. It will be interesting to go up against that kid. He deserves a pretty decent contract. Nothing too big, but hey, he won a multi-year deal. He want to be secured for a couple years. So as you guys saw earlier, we signed a new coach, so we're going to sign a new scout and a new trainer. So we're going to try to get the 2 most qualified guys, and that's what we do here by signing Ray Garland and James Clark. And now on to the free agency period. Free agency, one of the biggest moments in the NFL. You guys can see right there, Aaron Donald is the hottest player on the market right now. He already has 3 offers on the board from the Bengals, Cowboys, and the Jaguars. The Cowboys don't need any more talent over there, man. Those guys are loaded. The Bengals may can use them, and the Jaguars, because those teams are trying to, build themselves back up into a powerhouse or something. And the top quarterback in this year's free agency is Tom Brady. He's coming back, yo. Tom Brady retired earlier in the series. He's coming back for one go around. He's an 89 overall. I wonder where he's going to land. And you got Derek Carr leaving Oakland, man. Derek Carr trying to get on out there to Miami, South Beach. That'll be interesting also. So not many great quarterbacks this year. Running back play is okay. Not too many great running backs out there. You got Marshawn Lynch still looking for a deal. Devontae Freeman, taking on some offers. And you got Carlos Hyde. Wide receivers though, man. Julian Edelman, he's leaving New England. Tavon Austin, he's out there looking for a new job. It seems like the wide receiver position is the deepest in the free agency. So I can see a lot of teams loading up at that position. And we have a surprise retirement here. So Aaron Rodgers will hang it up for the second time. The first time was with the Packers. Now he's retiring as a New York Giant. He took that team all the way to the second round of the playoffs. They wasn't able to get over that hurdle, and he's going to call it quits. This is probably the last we're going to see of this guy. I'll be surprised if he come back a second time, because he still has some left in the tank. And now we're going to sim past the free agency period and get close to the draft, and we're going to recap what happened in the free agency. First up, you guys can see Tom Brady headed on to Atlanta, baby. He finally made it back down to the NFC South. Tom Brady will go there for a one-year deal, $12.5 million. And a lot of people scratching their head like, hey, they still got Matt Ryan over there. Well, Matt Ryan retired, and Tom Brady will be the new number 12 in ATL. Then you got Derek Carr going to the Rams. They had Jake Fromm last year, Stevie Scott in the backfield. I thought they had a pretty good team, so I guess they're not sold on Jake Fromm. And they're going to end up handing Derek Carr the keys until he proved them wrong. A 4-year deal? That's some serious commitment. And running back play, David Wilson ended up going to the Saints. Saints are loaded at running back. I'm not sure what they're doing there. They still have the young kid, Max Borgi. Hey, they better trade somebody, because they got a lot of talent over there in the backfield. And you got Carlos Hyde headed into ATL with Tom Brady. And Thompson going to the Bengals. All right, I see that. And for the receivers, Edelman heading to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson getting a vet out there. A veteran player for 4 years, $54 million. Tavon Austin heading to Cleveland to play with Odell. So you got Odell and Tavon. Oh my goodness, they're going to go crazy. And Jarvis left. I wonder where he went. And you got Thielen going to the Seahawks. No Russell Wilson over there. Carson Wentz is a quarterback. So, hey, Adam Thielen, Carson Wentz might be a nice connection. And we have a newcomer at wide receiver in our division, Robbie Anderson. Oh, he's a speedster, so we're going to have to watch out for that kid. And Jarvis Landry ended up going to New York. New York is going to have a new quarterback this year. And Jarvis, I think you're a year late, buddy, because Aaron Rodgers is no longer there. And the top player in this year's free agency, Aaron Donald, will head to the Bengals. I'm glad he didn't go to the Cowboys, because don't need any more talent, yo. They would be killing everybody in the NFC with that big kid. So it's going to be interesting to see the Bengals defense this year. You should see a lot of improvement. And they might be making some noise there in the AFC. They got a nice little team that they put together. Another huge pickup is the Patriots grabbing Joey Bosa, 6 years, $92 million. All right, that's some pretty good money there, and I think he's worth it, especially in that division where you need some edge rushers to put pressure on quarterbacks. And Josh Norman headed to the Jets, 1 year, $10 million deal, 31 years old. I guess he's going to say, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to pull a Darrell Reeves and see if I can get me a max contract over here. So now we're going to move to the draft. Everybody is calling for Steve Stevens to be the #1 pick. He's the guy for Oregon, a safety. He's top notch. He's a pretty good player. But I don't know, man. The first team on the board is the Packers. They might choose a different player. I don't believe they're going to choose a safety. They need something defensively, but they're pretty okay at safety. So let's see how far Steve Stevens fall if he don't get that #1 pick. So up with the first pick, we have the Green Bay Packers. The worst team in the NFL last year. They need a lot of help, man. They need a lot of help. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a quarterback here instead of a defensive player. All right, so they took Paul Moala, the linebacker from Notre Dame. They're going to bet all their money on a linebacker. He must be for sure. He's 5'11", 224. Hey, he can roam that field and he can lay the lumber also. And next up, another team from our division. We had two of the worst teams in our division. And the Vikings select Damani Richardson. Damani from Texas A&M. Strong safety, 6'1", 212. So we got two top-notch defensive players coming to the division. And next up, you got the Steelers selecting a fullback, Harold Joyner. He's from Auburn. He was a running back at first. He changed his position to fullback for the draft. I'm not sure. Maybe they use him more as a gadget player. You can line him up at tight end. He's pretty quick for a fullback, so it's kind of questionable of a pick here, but you never know. They might be on to something. And next up is the Washington football team, and they will select Kevin Harris. Kevin Harris from South Carolina, 5'10", 225, little scat back. You know how they like him out there. He can tote that tater too. And I forgot to tell you guys, Harold Joyner is 6'4", 231. That's the guy that got selected before Kevin Harris. He's a monster. He's going to be huge in that backfield. And the 5th pick goes to the Colts. They picked up J.T. Daniels from the University of Georgia, 6'3", 210. They already have my boy Tua, so I'm not sure what they're doing there. And next up with the 6th pick, the Bengals select Zach Calzada. Zach is from Texas A&M, 6'3", 205. Hey, they're still looking for that #1 quarterback. That boy Andy Dalton is in his last year of his contract. And with the 7th pick, the Cardinals select Ben Bresnahan. Ben is a big tight end, bro, from Vanderbilt, 6'4", 244. Kyler Murray is looking for weapons, man. He have a few great weapons out there already, so I can see him needing a big tight end for some nice pass blocking occasionally and run blocking, and also a nice big target to pass to across the middle. And with the 8th pick, the Raiders select Matt Corral. Matt Corral from Ole Miss, 6'1", 205. This guy might end up starting. You know they got rid of Derek Carr. He went to the Rams. And the Raiders may have a young rookie quarterback coming in. I wonder how this kid is going to take on the NFL in week 1. And next up, the Dolphins select Chris Bogle, a linebacker from Florida, 6'4", 240. Man, play it nice. That dude can get down there in that 3-point stance and give you some rush off the edge. He can play outside linebacker. Dude might end up being a top-notch linebacker before it's all said and done. And with the 10th pick, you got the Patriots. And the Patriots will select Devod Wilson from UCF, a 6', 195 cornerback. Pretty good size for a cornerback in the NFL. The Patriots are still trying to replace Stephon Gilmore. And the Rams with the 11th pick scooped up Steve Stevens. Steve was projected to go #1 overall, so the Rams, boy, they got a steal there. Steve Stevens come in 6 feet tall, 195. Not a big safety, but he's big enough. And Tennessee has the 12th pick, and they select Derek Hall, defensive end from Auburn, 6'3", 238. Hey, Auburn has some pretty good defensive linemen, yo. Every year they have a guy go in the first round off that defensive line. And with the 13th pick, the Chargers select Jaron Williams. And Jaron is from Miami, 6'2", 205. Jameis, if you slip one time, that kid is on your heels. And the next pick, the Broncos select Javian Hawkins. Javian is from Louisville, 5'9", 196. He's one of those scat backs, yo. Get all across the field. You better catch up with him. He can fly. Hey, the Broncos ended up grabbing one of the best running backs in this year's draft, in my opinion. The Broncos had back-to-back picks, the 14th and the 15th. And with the 15th pick, they select Coyness Miller Jr., another defensive lineman from Auburn. He's 6'2", 312. And with the 21st pick, the Texans select Jarian Ely from Ole Miss, 5'8", 190. Another small running back, but hey, he might be the real deal. And the Dolphins with the 22nd pick, they pick up the second quarterback in this year's draft. They got Ryan Helinski. Ryan comes from South Carolina. He's 6'3", 225, and he might be competing for that starting job with Brock Osweiler. And another quarterback goes off the board, Joey Gatewood, with the 26th pick. He will be going to the New York Giants. The New York Giants are looking for a new quarterback after Aaron Rodgers left. Daniel Jones is still there, but they're not sold on that kid. And with the 28th pick, the Bears select Frank Lasson Jr. He's from Clemson, 6'3", 205, yo. 6'3", 205. That's a big wide receiver, and hey, he might give somebody some issues. And we have the next pick, the 29th pick, but I believe we're going to trade this one down because I don't see anybody that we're very interested in. So the best deal we got is from Chicago. This year's second rounder and fifth rounder. That will give us 2 picks for 1, and we're just trying to build that, yo. And with the pick, the Bears select Jalen Phillips. Jalen comes from Miami. He's 6'5", 266. I don't think he's the best defensive end at this position. I think it is that Greg kid from Miami. And the Chiefs, they got a right tackle at the 30th pick. They're trying to find some more guys to protect Pat Mahomes. That's their biggest investment. And the Cowboys with the 31st pick select Reggie Pearson. And the last pick in the first round goes to the Browns, the reigning Super Bowl champs. And they will select Abdul Malik McClain, a linebacker from USC, 6'4", 245, man. Big boy at linebacker. Hey, he might bring the pain. You never know, the Browns might have a steal there. So we're going to fast forward to the second round. And the second pick in the second round goes to the Vikings, who select Greg Rousseau. I think I said his last name correct. I'm not sure. But this is the best defensive end in my opinion based off of size. This kid is 6'7", 265, y'all. My goodness. And with the fourth pick in the second round, another NFC rival of ours, the Washington football team select Tyler Shaw. He's a QB from Oregon, 6'5", 220. Hey, he might take that starting job from Dwayne Haskins. And then the Titans on the board again. With the 12th pick in the second round, they select Phil Jerkovich. He's from Boston College, 6'5", 226. Might be the next Matt Ryan since he retired. Hey, they need a new quarterback in Tennessee also. And with the 24th pick, we'll go ahead and select our first player in this year's draft. And we're going to go ahead and grab my boy Dennis Briggs Jr. from Florida State, a defensive end. We need a defensive end to help us out, man. We need another guy on the other side of my boy Chase Young. He's 6'4", 282. We were going for the Greg kid, but we wasn't able to grab him. So we're going to stick with my boy Dennis Briggs Jr. We're going to start calling him DBJ. And with the 26th pick in the second round, the Giants go for another quarterback, Matt Robinson. Matt Robinson comes from Illinois, 6'1", 190. I guess they saying, hey, we need a new quarterback, so we're going to draft as many good quarterbacks as possible and just send them to training camp and see who comes out on top. That's crazy. So we have a pick here in the second round. We know we had 2 picks. We already picked one guy, so we're going to trade this, or we're going to give it to the New England Patriots. I don't think they're going to be that good next year, so it might be a high pick. And they will select Kayvon Pope, outside linebacker, yo, from Ohio State, 6'1", 231. You know how they feel about those linebackers and defensive players from Ohio State. They think they can move, so it might be a pretty good pick. And the Cowboys with the 9th pick in the third round select Emory Jones, a quarterback, the backup Dak Prescott. He comes from Florida, 6'2", 210. A little scrambling quarterback, so I can't be hating on that. You need somebody to back up. You see what happened when Case Keenum got in. He did an okay job, but it wasn't enough. In our second pick of this year's draft, we select Jake Haener from Fresno State, 6 foot, 193. You know my boy Jordan Love backs up Trevor Lawrence. But Jordan got us all the way to the NFC Championship game, but we're going to give him some competition back there for that backup QB role. And the Giants go for another quarterback. That's 3 quarterbacks, yo. Their first 3 picks were spent on quarterbacks. William Brown from SMU, 6'3", 220. My goodness, what are they doing out there? They just say, hey, we go draft all our quarterbacks and give everybody a shot. And we're up next here with the 29th pick. We're going for a running back. You know my boy Jordan Whittington, man. from Texas. In real life, he's a wide receiver now. He used to be a halfback in high school. He changed his position to wide receiver, but we're going to put him at running back. We're going to let my boy do his thing. He's 6'1", 209. Hey, he can run that ball, and he's hard to take down. And here in round 4, a shocking pick by the Seahawks. With the 9th pick, they select Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma, man. It's an exciting player at quarterback. And backing up Carson Wentz, Carson, hey, don't slip, that young fella. He can take your spot. And with the 29th pick in the 4th round, we will select Daniel Green. You know, we're always trying to build on our defense. Daniel Green from Kansas State, 6'2", 238. Hey, we need as much help as we can get on defense. We be playing against some great run teams, and we need some nice running backs to help us out. And with the 24th pick in the 5th round, we're going to select Clay Webb from Georgia, 6'3", 290. He's a center. We need another center to back up our boy Sills. Hey, can't have too much depth on your team. And we had another pick here. We selected a player, DeMarcus Gregory from Ole Miss, 6'1", 200. I'm pretty excited about this kid, man. And in the 6th round, we select Joey Lachetti, a defensive end from Boston College who used to be a tight end. In real life, he's a tight end right now. 6'5", 252. Hey, we can use that big edge rusher. He might get some PT this year. And in the 7th round, we select Donjay Logan, a cornerback from Stanford, 5'11", 189. I'm not sure if we're going to keep this kid on the team, but you never know. We might need some more depth at cornerback. So that concludes the draft for us. And now we're going to check out the ratings for the players that we drafted. All right, our first pick was my boy DBJ, Dennis Briggs Jr. He was a 72 overall. All right, so not a bad pick there in the 2nd round. And our second pick was the quarterback Hayner, 74 overall. And Whittington, 73 overall in the 3rd round. And Daniel Green, a 72 overall in the 4th round. All right, man, we drafted pretty well. And our center, Clay Webb, 69. Then we had DeMarcus Gregory in the 5th round, a 70 overall. And Lachetti in the 6th round, 66 overall. And Donjay Logan, 69 overall at cornerback, man. We drafted pretty well there, I'm telling you. I'm surprised. And you guys can get a quick look at the draft picks for the other teams in NFL. Zach Calzada for the Bengals was a 77 overall. He was picked at number 6. Ben Bresnahan was an 81 overall. He was picked at 7. And JT Daniels, a 78 overall at quarterback, picked at 5th. And Dolphins got them a nice guy in Bogle. He's a 76 overall. And the Packers, who had the number 1 pick, got a better player in the 2nd round. And the Patriots, 10th pick, Davai Wilson, 78 overall. He might get a lot of PT this year. And then you got Matt Corral for the Raiders. He's an 80 overall at quarterback. So, hey, he might be a for sure starter already. And the biggest steal, in my opinion, went to the Rams with the 11th pick, Steve Stevens. 82 overall. I guess those guys knew what they were talking about, those scouts, by saying that he should have been the number 1 draft pick. And the Washington football team top pick was Kevin Harris, a 70 overall. Man, they got all those running backs. I think they got Jamal Charles, Jonathan Taylor, now Kevin Harris. Oh, man, somebody need to fire the GM. But I thought they pick up a pretty good quarterback in Tyler Show in the 2nd round, 77 overall. My goodness, like I told you guys, Dwayne Haskins might be out of there. And then the Steelers with the biggest surprise pick of them all with a fullback. He's an 83 overall. He has the highest overall out of all of the skilled players in this year's draft. So they might be on to something, like I said. And the Vikings top player, Damani Richardson, they picked him up with the 2nd pick. He's an 80 overall at safety. Hey, man, that was a pretty good draft. Majority of the teams selected players that they needed. Some teams made some head-scratching decisions, but can't be surprised to see some teams make some shocking decisions. You never know, it might work out in the end. But I appreciate you guys for watching this video, man. The NFL draft is over. Offseason has been completed. So next video, what I'm going to do is give you guys some highlights of the preseason, get to see some of the new players, and we're going to have a few position battles. And this should be the year for us, man. I'm calling it. It should be a Super Bowl this season. We got to get to it and get a W, man. Trevor got to stay healthy. You know, we've been fighting with that for the longest. But don't forget to hit that like button and notification bell, hey, and subscribe to the channel, man. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. You already know what time it is. It's your boy McGruff, and we out of here. 1.